the next speaker, I believe, is the fairy tale. We've seen a lot of startup conversations in the past day and a half. A lot of entrepreneurs really struggling to get funded and get acquired. And if you are a small technology company in Paris, France, not Texas, if you're a small technology company in Paris and suddenly you are acquired by arguably the larger camera plus hardware plus software plus media brand maybe in the world, a company called GoPro. That's a pretty awesome step from where you began. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Nicolas. He's going to talk about how he's been automagically making video easier to produce and create and share.
Thank you. Hi. So I'm Nicolas Steegmann, the co-founder of Stupeflix, now part of GoPro. And those guys up there are my co-founders, Etienne, on the left, who has had his head cut off, Jeff, myself, and François, who was badly photoshopped into the picture. So why don't we have a better picture of us four, you ask? Well, I guess it's a visual metaphor for the scrappy startup that we've built those past 8 years. It was a journey where we did a few things backward, I think, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But first, let me explain you and show you what Stupeflix is all about. So it's this app, mobile app, iPhone and iOS, where you just select your footage, some of your footage and music, and we analyze them very quickly, and you end up with a very cool video in a second. Paste to the music and everything. Or not. Play! So just download the app. Supposed to be a super video with music and everything. Never mind. So how did we start? I read something that Mark Andreessen said a week ago or 2 weeks ago. He was saying that the absolute worst kind of founders were the ones who started a company just to be their own boss. And I must confess that that was our motivation to start with. But we, quickly turned into that desirable kind of founders that are passionate about their ideas. Never mind that that idea only lasted a few months. It was a travel website. We then engaged in our second mistake very quickly, which was to build the technology first without having any clue as to what it could be useful for. It was a 3D game engine working on GPU server and on mobile devices. And here you can see François trying to assemble our first GPU server. So don't try this at home. Then, woo-hoo-hoo. then there is no presentation left for me to show you. What's the... And so, like our late Steve, we decided that we wanted to bring arts and technology together. So François started playing the violin with Montmartre in the bottom. That's our office in Paris. But it didn't go well with the neighbors, so he gave up on the violin, kept the red shirt, and we decided to focus on motion design and two things really. trying to develop algorithms and an architecture to analyze your media and your music and produce beautiful videos, and 2, do that automatically and locally on mobile devices. And it's only then that this debauchery of technology started to make sense. Better late than never. And the team was growing, and so we had to raise money desperately. So we started to fundraise in the US. So that's me and my co-founder sleeping in our cars on Sand Hill Road like naive Frenchmen. We had we met that one angel who was very well connected apparently, because in no time he had this pitch in front of several tier 1 VCs in the US. So that's Jeff happily looking at our presentation, full of hopes. And it didn't pan out that well, unfortunately. But we still managed to raise a bit of money, like about $1 million. And it was a good thing, after all, that we raised just a little money, because I think it forced us to focus on one app and do it very well and very polished. And we still managed to hire like 30 very brilliant engineers. And we did so very slowly and taking our time like craftsmen. This is us on our bikes on Google Campus. It's a video, so you could have seen us bicycling very slowly. So we really took our time, and we were rewarded for it in the end, I think, because we got to like 13 or 14 million downloads and several million people using our app. Rewarding too was this invitation to demo replay at a very famous keynote under team's applause. I've kept the name secret because it's a company that likes to be secret about things. They're very secretive. One last mistake for the road, M&A. So we got acquired by GoPro in March, and very happily so, but we had been approached by a few other companies in the past, and I think we hadn't handled those quite as well. We had been, I guess, too curious about it, trying to understand or see what they would have to offer without even knowing if we really wanted to sell a company or not. So I think it proved to be very detrimental to our motivation and the motivation of our team, because, of course, when you start toying with the idea that maybe it will all end tomorrow, while you're not very motivated to shoot for the moon or even for the top of that tree in your garden anymore. But the silver lining is that after that we were very detached and relaxed about M&A, and so it proved to be quite a good mindset to be in ultimately. So that picture was us after 15 hours in our lawyer's office. It was 1 a.m. and even the lawyers had left at that point. Email me if you want the pictures. Thank you.